Frank Miller wiped his mop across the polished floor of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Most people never noticed him. He was just the guy who cleaned up after the smart folks went home. Frank liked it that way. At 52, with gray starting to show in his beard, he had settled into the comfortable rhythm of night shifts and empty hallways. Tonight, though, something caught his eye as he passed the main monitoring room. The screens showed unusual patterns in the data streams. Frank paused, leaning on his mop. He had never studied astronomy, barely finished high school, in fact, but he had been cleaning these rooms for 15 years. He knew what normal looked like. This wasn't normal. "Hey, Dr. Patel?" Frank called to the only scientist still working. "Those readings look off to me." Dr. Patel glanced up from her coffee, surprised. She rarely spoke to the cleaning staff. "What do you mean, off?" Frank pointed to the screen. "See how those signals cluster? They're moving against the usual patterns. Too organized to be random." Dr. Patel's eyes widened as she looked closer. Frank was right. The objects they had assumed were meteors were moving with purpose. She immediately called her supervisor. 3 days later, Frank found himself in a meeting with NASA's top brass. He shifted uncomfortably in his chair as they reviewed his observation. "Mr. Miller, you've potentially identified the first evidence of extraterrestrial technology approaching Earth," the director said. "How did you notice what our algorithms missed?" Frank shrugged. "Just looked wrong. Like when you see a flock of birds and one is flying funny. You notice. While the government prepared for possible contact, life went on for most Americans." In Phoenix, Arizona, Olivia Benson started her day like any other. Her kindergarten classroom buzzed with the energy of 25 five-year-olds finger painting their dreams. "Miss Benson, Joey took the blue paint," a little girl complained. Olivia smiled gently. "Lucy, I can see you're frustrated. Let's find a solution together." Within moments, the children were happily sharing again that Olivia had always been good with people. Friends called it her superpower, knowing exactly what others needed. She considered it normal human empathy, though she admitted she felt emotions more intensely than most. When the news broke about the alien ships entering Earth orbit, Olivia watched her students' reactions with interest. Children processed world events differently than adults. Some were scared, others excited. She helped them draw pictures of what they imagined aliens might look like, turning fear into creativity. No one expected the aliens to land in Phoenix. No one expected them to request a civilian representative. And absolutely no one expected them to specifically ask for Olivia Benson. "This has to be a mistake," Olivia told the government agents at her door. "I'm just a kindergarten teacher." "The aliens were very specific, Miss Benson," the agent replied. "They detected unusual neural patterns in this region and followed them to you." 24 hours later, Olivia stood at the edge of a military perimeter, watching as a shimmering craft descended from the sky. It looked like liquid crystal, refracting sunlight in dazzling patterns. The air felt charged with electricity. Military personnel surrounded her, weapons ready. World leaders watched via secure video. This moment would change human history forever. The craft opened like a blooming flower. The being that emerged was nothing like Olivia had imagined. It stood about 7 feet tall, its body composed of interconnected crystalline structures that shifted and realigned as it moved. Light pulsed through its form in complex patterns. The alien approached the human delegation. Officials stepped forward with prepared speeches, but the crystalline being moved past them, directly toward Olivia. Everyone tensed. Guards raised their weapons. The alien stopped, its crystal body flashing rapidly with patterns of light. It seemed agitated or confused. Without thinking, Olivia stepped forward. "It's okay," she said softly, the way she would speak to a frightened child. "We're all nervous." This is new for all of us. The alien's light steadied. It extended what might have been an arm, crystal formations, rearranging to create a limb-like appendage. The translator devices the scientists had prepared remained silent. But somehow, Olivia understood. "You're welcome here," she said, reaching out her hand. When they touched, a gentle warmth spread up Olivia's arm. Images flooded her mind: stars, planets, vast networks of crystalline beings communicating through light and thought. She gasped. I can feel what you're feeling," she whispered. The alien, who later introduced itself as Zenith of the Shintari, communicated that this was why they had sought her out. Humans, particularly Olivia, possessed emotional perception capabilities. The Shintari found fascinating that within hours, Olivia became Earth's unofficial ambassador. The Shintari respected her ability to sense emotional states that their species communicated through light patterns. Somehow, her brain could interpret these patterns intuitively. Meanwhile, Frank Miller found himself reassigned from cleaning floors to analyzing alien communication patterns. His knack for spotting irregularities proved invaluable as scientists struggled to understand Shintari technology. "They've been watching us for decades," Frank told the assembled scientists, pointing to patterns in the data. "See these signal clusters? They match our satellite launches, major conflicts, nuclear tests. They've been monitoring our development. Double quotes, Dr. Patel nodded. But why reveal themselves now? The answer came a week later when more Shintari arrived. Through Olivia's growing ability to communicate with them, humanity learned the truth. The aliens were part of a galactic confederation comprising 12 advanced species. Earth had reached a technological threshold that qualified it for contact. There was something else, something about humans that particularly interested them. "They keep asking about our biological capabilities," Olivia explained to the hastily assembled First Contact team. "They use a term that translates roughly as biological anomalies." Frank, now part of this elite team thanks to his pattern recognition skills, frowned. "They think we're weird? Have they looked in a mirror?" Olivia smiled. "I think they find us fascinating, different from other species they've encountered." As governments worldwide scrambled to form a unified response to the Shintari presence, Frank and Olivia found themselves at the center of humanity's greatest adventure. Two ordinary people, a janitor and a kindergarten teacher whose seemingly normal human abilities had caught the attention of beings from beyond the stars. Neither realized yet that what they considered ordinary human traits were about to be revealed as extraordinary by galactic standards. The secret superpowers of human beings were hiding in plain sight in the everyday abilities they had taken for granted their entire lives. 6 months after the Shintari first landed in Phoenix, Earth was still adjusting to the reality of alien contact. News channels covered little else. Children played with crystal-shaped toys. Religious leaders debated the implications. And in a secure government facility, 5 humans prepared to leave their planet for the first time. Frank Miller adjusted his new uniform, still not quite believing he was here. The former janitor now held the title of Pattern Analysis Specialist. He glanced at his teammates, equally uncomfortable in their matching blue jumpsuits. Olivia Benson stood nearby, practicing the light pattern greetings she had learned from the Shintari. Her role as Earth's first ambassador had evolved into something deeper. She could now understand complex Shintari emotions just by observing their light patterns. "Nervous?" asked Dr. William Carter, a neuroscientist with a remarkable memory. He could recall every detail of every Shintari interaction since first contact. "Terrified," Frank admitted. "Never even been on an airplane before." "Well, I don't think commercial airlines compare to alien spaceships anyway," said Lisa Green with a smile. The linguist had mastered the basics of Shintari light language in weeks, a feat the aliens found impressive. To Lisa, It was just what she did. She had always picked up languages quickly. Captain Sam Richards completed their team. The military had insisted on sending someone with combat training, though everyone hoped those skills wouldn't be needed. Sam had been chosen partly for his service record and partly because of what his superiors called his uncanny situational awareness. Sam called it good instincts. He had a knack for making the right decision in dangerous moments. Departure. In 30 minutes, announced a voice over the speaker. Final checks underway. The Shintari ship waited above, a massive crystalline structure visible from Earth as a bright star that didn't move with the others. The human delegation would travel there in a smaller crystal vessel, accompanied by Zenith, the Shintari who had first approached Olivia. I still don't understand why they picked us, Frank said quietly as they boarded the transport ship. I'm nobody special. That's what they find interesting, Olivia replied. What we consider ordinary. The journey, too. The mothership took less than an hour. As Earth shrank beneath them, the 5 humans watched in silent awe. No training could have prepared them for the blue marble of their homeworld, growing distant, or the vastness of space opening around them. The mothership grew larger in the viewport, a massive structure of interconnected crystal formations, pulsing with interior light. Smaller vessels moved around it like bees around a hive. Welcome to the Nexus, Zenith said as they docked, the primary vessel of the Shintari exploratory fleet. The interior of the Nexus stunned the human delegation. Vast chambers of crystal opened before them, with multiple alien species moving through the spaces. The Shintari were not alone. The Galactic Confederation comprises 12 sentient species, Zenith explained, light patterns flickering across its crystalline body, each with their own evolutionary advantages. You are the first humans to meet representatives from beyond your solar system. As they moved through the ship, Frank counted at least 6 different alien types. The insect-like Vreen moved in perfect coordination, their multiple limbs never colliding as they worked on complex equipment. Floating gas clouds that Zenith identified as the Mori changed colors as they passed, apparently their method of greeting. Tall, thin beings with 4 arms operated control panels with blinding speed docked in the central chamber. Representatives from each species gathered to meet the humans. Frank noticed how they all kept a careful distance, watching with what he interpreted as caution despite their technological superiority. They're afraid of us, he whispered to Olivia. Not afraid, she corrected. Curious, cautious. There's something about us they find ... unpredictable. The diplomatic meetings lasted for hours. Dr. Carter memorized every detail of each alien species. Lisa absorbed fragments of their languages, finding patterns between them that even the aliens hadn't noticed. Sam carefully noted all exits and security measures, habit from military training that he couldn't shake. After the formal introductions, the humans were shown to their quarters crystal chambers, adapted to approximate Earth conditions. They had just settled in when alarms blared throughout the ship. The lights dimmed to a deep red. What's happening? Olivia asked, feeling a wave of panic from the Shintari crew outside their chambers. Zenith's light patterns flashed rapidly. Power. Failure in this sector. The atmospheric controls are compromised. This area will fill with methane gas in minutes, harmless to us, but toxic to humans. The doors to their quarters sealed automatically. Emergency systems engaged, trapping them inside. Can we get to another section? Sam asked, already examining the sealed doorway. The navigation systems are offline, Zenith replied. Without them, you would be lost in the ship. Sam looked at the ceiling. What about maintenance tunnels? Emergency routes? Zenith's lights flickered in surprise. Yes, but without guidance. I'll try, Sam said. He closed his eyes for a moment. This way feels right. He pointed to the eastern wall. Frank noticed a slight change in the crystal pattern there. Look, there's a seam in the structure. Could be a panel. Lisa studied the emergency symbols flashing on the wall. These markings indicate. I think it's an access point. The symbols are similar to their word for pathway. With Zenith's reluctant assistance, they opened the hidden panel, revealing a narrow maintenance tunnel. Sam led the way, making turns based on what he called hunches. Frank spotted pattern. Changes in the crystal that marked junction points. Lisa quickly deciphered emergency markings as they went. As they went, they emerged into a safe sector, surprising a group of Shintari technicians who had been preparing a rescue team. How did you navigate the maintenance network without guidance? One of the technicians asked, lights pulsing with confusion. Just lucky guesses, Sam said with a shrug. Pattern recognition, Frank added. Basic symbol interpretation, Lisa said. The Shintari exchanged rapid light patterns among themselves. Olivia, sensing their confusion and growing concern, stepped forward. Is something wrong? She asked. No, Zenith replied after a pause. Just ... unexpected. Most species require specialized training or technology to navigate unfamiliar environments. Later, after the emergency was resolved, Frank noticed the Shintari observers watching them more intently. During meals, during briefings, even during rest periods, the humans were being studied. They're testing us, he whispered to his teammates. That night, the power failure, the emergency, I think it might have been staged. Why would they do that? Olivia asked. To see how we'd react, Dr. Carter suggested. To observe our capabilities under stress. But what are they looking for? Lisa wondered. Sam leaned forward. Whatever it is, they found it. And it surprised them. None of the humans realized yet just how extraordinary their ordinary abilities appeared to the watching aliens. Their journey into the depths of the Galactic Confederation had only just begun. The human delegation had been aboard the Shintari mothership for 2 weeks when they received an unexpected invitation. The Galactic Confederation's central hub station wanted to meet them. This was a rare honor, Zenith explained. Most new species waited years before visiting the heart of the Confederation. Why us? Why now? Frank asked as they prepared for the journey. Your species has shown unusual qualities, Zenith replied, its crystal body shimmering with what Olivia now recognized as a mix of excitement and concern. The trip to the hub station took 3 days. Unlike the crystal beauty of the Shintari vessel, the central station was a massive ring structure with sections built by each member species. The humans marveled at the different architectural styles, each reflecting the biology and culture of its creators. This place is incredible, Lisa said, taking notes on the various symbols and writing systems visible throughout the station. Some of these languages share root patterns despite evolving on different planets. Dr. Carter nodded, his eyes moving rapidly as he memorized every detail. The Vreen section has exactly 729 support columns, 27 squared. They seem to prefer mathematical precision. The human quarters were in a neutral section designed for visitors. The space was comfortable but sterile. Frank noticed small devices in the corners of each room. Observation equipment, he whispered to the others. They're still studying us. Not just studying, Dr. Carter said after examining their daily schedule. These activities they've planned, they're tests. Reaction time, problem solving, emotional response. I've designed similar experiments for my lab. Sam crossed his arms. So we're lab rats now? Let's play along, Olivia suggested. Maybe we can learn as much about them as they learn about us. The next day, the humans were separated for individual activities. Frank found himself in a room with rapidly changing light patterns on the walls. He was asked to identify emerging patterns, a simple task for someone who had spent years spotting irregularities in machinery. Lisa faced a series of alien language samples. Asked to find connections between them, Dr. Carter was tested on memory recall. Sam navigated a maze-like structure. Olivia participated in what appeared to be diplomatic simulations. When they reunited that evening, they compared notes. "These tests are getting more complex," Frank said. "Today they showed me pattern sequences that changed faster than I could. Consciously process, but I still got most of them right. They had me responding to emotional cues from 6 different species simultaneously," Olivia added. "I didn't even know I could do that." "I think they're pushing our limits," Dr. Carter sighed thoughtfully, "testing the boundaries of human capability." On the 3rd day, Frank was left alone in a waiting area while the others attended their sessions. Bored, he noticed a data terminal nearby. Curious, he approached it. The interface was Shintari, but he had watched them enough to understand the basics. He touched the screen experimentally. To his surprise, it activated. "Probably shouldn't be doing this," he muttered to himself, but curiosity won out. He navigated through what appeared to be public information about the station. Nothing interesting got. Then he noticed a pattern in the access system, a slight flaw in the security protocol. Without really thinking about it, he tried a different sequence of touches. The screen changed, showing new information. Frank's eyes widened. He was looking at research data about humans. About them, he quickly scanned the files before someone. Noticed. What he saw made him freeze. Comparative species analyses. Capability assessments. Evolutionary profiles. According to these files, humans were unlike anything the Confederation had encountered before. Most species in the galaxy evolved with 1 or 2 specialized advantages: the Shintari's energy manipulation, the Vreen's hive mind, the Mori's chemical communication. But these specializations came at the cost of other capabilities. Humans, however, had developed moderate levels of nearly all these abilities simultaneously. Their pattern recognition, adaptability, emotional range, endurance, and learning capacity were each unremarkable by specialized standards, but the combination was unprecedented. Frank quickly closed the files when he heard someone approaching. He returned to his seat, mind racing. He needed to tell the others. That evening, he gathered the team in their quarters, checking first for listening devices. "They're not just curious about us," he explained in a low voice. "They're amazed by us. What we think of as normal human abilities are extraordinary by their standards." "That can't be right," Lisa said. "We're not special. I'm good with languages, but nothing superhuman." "That's just it," Frank replied. "No single ability is exceptional, but the combination is. Think about it. The Vreen have perfect coordination, but minimal individual creativity. The Mori communicate chemically, but have limited physical manipulation. The Shintari can control energy, but have rigid thought patterns. While humans are generalists," Dr. Carter said slowly, understanding dawning. "Jack of all trades, master of none." "Except that being a jack of all trades is a mastery itself," Sam added. "Combat training taught me that adaptability often beats specialization." The next morning, they were summoned to meet with the Confederation. Council, representatives from all 12 species, sat in a semicircle. The humans stood in the center, feeling small beneath their collective gaze. A tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms spoke first. "We have reviewed the data from your assessments. It is concerning? Olivia asked, sensing waves of unease from several council members. "Your species possesses a unique evolutionary profile," the alien continued. "Most life forms specialize developing one primary advantage at the expense of other capabilities. This creates natural balance in ecosystems and between species. Humans show potential for all these capabilities simultaneously," added a Vreen representative, its insect-like mandibles clicking. "Pattern recognition comparable to Shintari. emotional sensitivity approaching Luvari levels, physical adaptability similar to Dorn, individual problem-solving exceeding Vreen collective standards. This combination should not be possible, the blue alien stated flatly. It violates evolutionary principles. Frank stepped forward. With respect, we're not special. We're just ... human. These abilities you're amazed by, they're ordinary where we come from. A ripple of light patterns spread through the Shintari present. Frank had accidentally said something significant. Zenith moved to the center of the chamber. That is precisely what concerns some council members. What you consider ordinary, we consider extraordinary. You do not even recognize your own capabilities. Olivia, sensing the growing tension, stepped forward. We came here in peace. We want to learn from you, to share knowledge. Not all feel. This opportunity outweighs the risk, the Vreen representative clicked. Some believe humans should be quarantined until we better understand their potential. The word quarantined sent a chill through the human delegation. Sam tensed, ready for trouble. Dr. Carter began calculating escape routes. Lisa watched the alien's body language for signs of threat. Olivia felt the swirl of emotions in the room: fear, curiosity, excitement, concern. She raised her hands in a gesture of peace. We understand your caution, but judge us by our actions, not our potential. We've shown nothing but respect and cooperation. The council fell silent, considering her words. Finally, Zenith spoke. The council will deliberate. Until then, you will remain as our guests. As they were escorted back to their quarters, Frank whispered to the others, Guests or prisoners? Both, I think, Sam replied quietly. And I don't think this visit is going to end as smoothly as it started. None of them realized that the greatest test of humanity's ordinary abilities was yet to come. 3 days passed with no word from the Confederation Council. The human delegation remained in their quarters, technically guests, but effectively confined. Armed guards from the Vreen species stood outside their door, mandibles clicking in there. Strange language. This isn't good, Sam said, pacing the room. The longer they debate, the more time the anti-human faction has to build their case. Dr. Carter nodded. Based on what Frank found, some species see us as a potential threat. Our combination of abilities makes them nervous. But we haven't done anything threatening, Lisa protested. Sometimes being different is threat enough. Olivia said quietly, I can feel their fear. It's not personal, it's instinctive. Frank sat in the corner, thinking. We need to prove we're valuable allies, not dangerous wildcards. But how? Their chance came sooner than expected. That evening, they received a message from Zenith. The council had scheduled a final hearing. For the next day, all 12 species would vote on humanity's status in the Confederation. They're moving quickly, Sam observed. Something pushed them to make a decision. The next morning, the humans were escorted to the Grand Council chamber. It was larger than before, with hundreds of observers from various species watching from. Tiered seating. The human delegation stood in the center, surrounded by the 12 council representatives. The blue four-armed alien, who had spoken before, addressed them again. I am High Counselor Vazine of the Luvari. This session will determine Earth's relationship with the Galactic Confederation. We have reviewed all data on human capabilities and must decide if your species represents an opportunity for cooperation or a risk to established order. Frank noticed the tension in the room. The Vreen representatives seemed particularly agitated, their insect bodies moving in sharp, jerky motions. The gaseous morae swirled in dark patterns. Before the vote, Vezin continued, representatives may present final arguments. A Vreen stepped forward. Its voice came through the translators as harsh and clipped. Humans possess a dangerous combination of abilities that should not coexist in one species. Their history shows violent tendencies. Their adaptability makes them unpredictable. For the safety of the Confederation, Earth should be quarantined, with limited supervised contact only. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Frank tell the Vreen argument was swaying many observers. Zenith moved forward to speak for the Shintari. While humans are indeed unique, they have shown only peaceful intentions. Their generalist evolution offers complementary abilities. To our specialized ones, humanity could become a valuable member of our community. The debate continued, with species taking positions for or against closer human relations. The atmosphere grew tense as disagreements sharpened. Olivia suddenly grabbed Frank's arm. "Something's wrong," she whispered. "I'm feeling malicious intent. Someone in this room plans to do harm." Before Frank could respond, a loud hiss sounded from overhead. The chamber's entrances sealed shut with heavy barriers. Red warning lights flashed. "Security lockdown initiated," announced an automated voice in multiple languages. Panic erupted among the delegates. The Luvari High Counselor called for order, but chaos was spreading. "Look!" Sam pointed to a vent near the ceiling. A faint green mist was seeping into the room. Dr. Carter's eyes widened. "That's not part of the environmental system. It's a neurotoxin," finished a Shintari scientist nearby, light patterns flashing in alarm. "Specifically designed to affect the nervous systems of most council species. Can you stop it?" Frank asked. "The override controls are locked," the scientist replied. "Someone has sabotaged the system." Frank studied the room quickly, spotting patterns in the architecture. "There," he said, pointing to a maintenance panel near the floor. "That should connect to the ventilation system." Sam was already moving. "I need a clear shot at that control panel by the door. It might control the locks." "The security system needs a 12-digit code," the Shintari scientist said. "Without it, I can try to decode it," Lisa interrupted. "The symbols follow linguistic patterns similar to what I've studied." As the green mist thickened, the humans sprang into action. Sam vaulted over a fallen chair, sliding toward the door controls. A Vreen guard moved to stop him, but Sam had anticipated this. He feinted left, then rolled right, reaching the panel. In seconds, "Lisa, I need that code," he called. Lisa studied the symbols flashing on a nearby screen. Her mind made connections between the emergency alerts and the security protocols she had observed during their stay. "Try sequence 7392148560023. She shouted. Sam punched in the code. Nothing happened. Last two digits reversed. Lisa called, spotting her error. 3 to 2, not 2 to 3. Sam corrected the entry. The panel blinked green, but the doors remained sealed. Meanwhile, Frank had reached the ventilation panel and pried it open. "Dr. Carter, what can neutralize this toxin?" Dr. Carter closed his eyes briefly, recalling the chemical formulas he had memorized from the Confederation database. "The compound in the Mori diplomatic suite's the air purifier. It has alkaline properties that should neutralize the acidic toxin. Where do we get that?" Frank asked desperately. A Mori delegate floated forward, its gaseous body changing color. It communicated through the translator. "We carry emergency purifiers. But I cannot reach the ventilation system." Frank quickly fashioned a makeshift tool from pieces of his chair. "Pass it here. I'll inject it into the system." As delegates began showing signs of distress from the toxin, Olivia moved through the Yaka crowd, her natural empathy helping calm the panicking aliens. "Everyone stay low to the ground," she instructed. "The toxin is lighter than air." Within minutes, the humans had transformed a crisis into an organized response. Sam bypassed the security system, opening a single emergency exit for medical teams. To enter, Lisa translated evacuation instructions into multiple alien languages. Frank and the Maury delegate neutralized the toxin at its source. Dr. Carter helped treat affected delegates with antidotes he formulated on the spot. When the emergency teams finally secured the chamber, they found something surprising. A Vreen saboteur lay unconscious near a secondary control panel. It had been knocked out by Sam when it tried to block the emergency exit. A radical faction, Zenith explained later. They believed eliminating key council members would force a DRNTN policy for Earth. In the aftermath, the human delegation was not treated as suspects, but as heroes. Word spread quickly through the station. The humans had saved representatives from 8 species, using nothing but their ordinary abilities. The council reconvened the next day in a different chamber. The mood had shifted dramatically. High Counselor Vazine addressed the humans. Yesterday's events have demonstrated what statistics alone could not. Your species' combination of abilities, pattern recognition, adaptability, quick learning, empathy, and intuitive problem-solving working in concert is something we have never witnessed before. We were just trying to help, Frank said simply. Without specialized training or technology, Masson continued. You identified the threat, formulated solutions, and implemented them while coordinating with multiple species. Such cooperation between specialists would have required extensive preparation. That's just how humans work, Olivia explained. We're used to figuring things out as we go along. The High Counselor's 4 hands made a formal gesture. The Council's perspective has changed. We would like to discuss a special alliance with Earth, not as a probationary member, but as a unique partner. As they left the chamber, Sam nudged. Frank, not bad for a janitor and some ordinary humans, huh? Frank smiled. Turns out being ordinary is pretty extraordinary after all. The journey back to Earth was very different from their departure. The human delegation traveled on a larger vessel with representatives from all 12 Confederation species. The ship wasn't just transporting them home, it was bringing the first official alien delegation to Earth. Frank stared out the viewport at the approaching blue planet. Hard to believe it's only been a month since we left. Feels like years. Everything's going to change now, Lisa said, joining him. For everyone back home. Dr. Carter nodded. They've prepared the public as much as possible, but seeing 12 different alien species in person will still be quite a shock. Better than being quarantined, Sam pointed out. A week ago, some of them wanted to cut Earth off completely. Olivia smiled. And now they want to learn from us. Funny how things work out. The ship entered Earth's atmosphere, heading for the Yachad. Same landing site in Arizona where the Shintari had first appeared. This time, instead of military vehicles and frightened officials, a massive welcome center had been built. World leaders gathered to greet the Confederation. Representatives. As the humans stepped off the ship alongside their alien companions, Frank couldn't help feeling proud. 6 weeks ago, he had been mopping floors. Now he was helping introduce Earth to the galaxy. The formal meetings lasted for days. Agreements were drafted, cultural exchanges planned, scientific cooperation established. Through it all, the human delegation served as bridges between their world and the visitors. One evening, High Counselor Vazin requested a private meeting with the 5 humans. They gathered in a conference room at the Welcome Center. Before we finalize our alliance, Vazin said, there is something you should understand about your species' place in the galaxy. The 4-armed alien activated a holographic display showing various alien species and their evolutionary traits. For billions of years, life throughout the galaxy has followed a consistent pattern, Vazin explained. Species evolve with specialized adaptations suited to their environments. The Shintari developed energy manipulation because their crystalline world is bathed in radiation. The Vreen developed hive coordination to survive on a predator-filled planet. The Maury became gaseous to thrive in their toxic atmosphere. The display shifted to show human DNA compared to other species. Humans followed a different path, Vizine continued. Your planet's rapidly changing conditions never allowed specialization to take hold. Instead, you developed as generalists adapting to new challenges, rather than perfecting responses to specific ones. Jack of all trades, master of none, Frank repeated his earlier observation. Exactly, Vizine said. But the Confederation now recognizes this as an evolutionary marvel. What you consider ordinary human abilities are actually extraordinary adaptations that no single species has combined before. Dr. Carter leaned forward. Like what, specifically? Your pattern recognition rivals Shintari perception, Vizine said, nodding to Frank. Your language acquisition, nodding to Lisa, matches abilities that took the Luvari millions of years to develop. Your memory capacity, to Dr. Carter, approaches Mori collective recall. Your intuitive decision-making, to Sam, exceeds Vreen tactical assessments. And your empathic sensing, to Olivia, rivals abilities our species considers supernatural. But none of us are exceptional by human standards, Olivia pointed out. There are better linguists than Lisa, better scientists than Dr. Carter. That is precisely what makes humans unique, Vizine replied. Your species contains incredible variation while maintaining this balanced suite of capabilities. No single human may excel at everything, but collectively, you demonstrate abilities that the rest of the galaxy evolved separately. Frank scratched his beard thoughtfully. So basically, what's ordinary for us is extraordinary for the galaxy. Yes, Vizine confirmed. And that is why the Confederation voted unanimously to offer Earth a special alliance status. We believe humans will complement our specialized species perfectly. Over the next few weeks, the reality of this new relationship became clear. The aliens weren't just sharing technology. They wanted human perspectives on problems they're specialized. Thinking couldn't solve. Confederation scientists sought human creativity. Diplomats wanted human emotional intelligence. Explorers needed human adaptability. 1 month after the delegation's return, a new training facility opened near the Welcome Center. Hundreds of humans from various backgrounds were being prepared for roles throughout the Confederation. Frank walked through the facility, now wearing the uniform of a senior advisor. He passed a classroom where former teachers were training as cross-species diplomats. In another room, artists collaborated with Shintari engineers on new technologies. Farmers discussed adaptive agriculture with Mori atmospheric specialists. Former soldiers practiced crisis management alongside Vreen tactical experts. Frank stopped at a window overlooking the main atrium. There, Olivia was meeting with a group of new human recruits, ordinary people from all walks of life. A truck driver, a nurse, a librarian, a construction worker, a chef. These are the people you selected? Asked Zenith, who had become Earth's permanent liaison. Yes, Frank replied, not scientists or geniuses. Just regular humans with different perspectives. You were a janitor, Zenith observed, light patterns showing curiosity. Now you help select humans to work with the most advanced species in the galaxy. Frank smiled. That's the point we've been trying to make. What makes us valuable isn't exceptional individuals. It's that ordinary humans have abilities your species consider extraordinary. Later that day, the 5 original delegation members met in their old conference room. It had become something of a tradition weekly dinners to stay connected as their roles took them in different directions. I'm heading to the Shintari homeworld next month, Lisa announced. They want help establishing a human language institute. The Vreen have asked me to review their tactical simulations, Sam said. Apparently I make inexplicable but correct decisions they want to understand. Dr. Carter smiled. Amori want me to help design learning systems based on human memory patterns. How about you, Olivia? Frank asked. I'm staying here, she replied, helping select and prepare the next generation of human representatives. Speaking of which, we're receiving thousands of applications daily from people who want to join the program. Any good candidates? Lisa asked. Olivia nodded. Lots. A bus driver with amazing spatial awareness. A kindergarten teacher like me who connects with alien young. A plumber with incredible problem-solving skills. Ordinary people, Frank said with satisfaction. With extraordinary potential, Olivia finished. Outside the window, the Arizona sunset painted the sky in brilliant colors. In the distance, the lights of the Welcome Center glowed as humans and aliens continued their work long into the night. Earth was changing, awakening to its place in the galaxy. Frank thought about how it all started, with a janitor noticing an unusual pattern on a monitor, with a kindergarten teacher sensing emotions and beings from another world, with ordinary humans doing what came naturally to them. You know what the best part is? He said to his friends. We're just the beginning. There are billions more humans out there, each with their own combination of these so-called ordinary abilities. The secret superpowers of human beings, Dr. Carter said with a smile. Hidden in plain sight all along, Frank agreed.